Breaking today, Princess Leonor wedding, King Felipe and Prince Christian in Denmark. It was a morning no one in Spain, or Denmark, could ever forget. The air was cold, crisp, and charged with an emotion that words could barely contain. Crowds filled the streets of Copenhagen, their eyes fixed on one moment that had been whispered about for years but never truly believed, until today. Princess Leonor of Spain, the future queen, had arrived in Denmark. But she was not here for diplomacy or duty, she was here for love. And standing at the end of the grand aisle of Fredensborg Palace Chapel, was none other than Prince Christian of Denmark, heir to his own throne and the man who had captured her heart. No one saw this coming. Not like this. Not today. For months, royal watchers had speculated about their growing friendship. Every glance, every quiet exchange at public events became a headline. Yet, few imagined that this connection would blossom into one of the most unexpected royal unions in modern history, a marriage that could unite two monarchies and redefine Europe's royal future. But how did we get here? How did the daughter of King Felipe VI, Spain's disciplined, dutiful monarch, fall in love with the young Prince of Denmark, a nation so different from her own? To understand this story, we must go back, years before the wedding bells, before the rumors, before the cameras caught their secret smiles. It began in the quiet corridors of European royal gatherings. Leonor and Christian had first crossed paths at events where formality ruled every gesture. She was only a teenager then, graceful, reserved, the image of her mother, Queen Letizia. Christian, meanwhile, was known for his easy charm, his quiet confidence, the spark in his eyes that made even official events feel warm. They were two heirs from different worlds, but united by one shared fate, a destiny they did not choose but were born into. Over time, those brief encounters turned into longer conversations, then into letters, and later, private visits away from the cameras. What started as youthful curiosity became something far deeper. And yet, both royal families knew the stakes. For King Felipe, his daughter's every step carried the weight of Spain's monarchy. For Queen Letizia, a former journalist who had once fought to protect her daughters from the harsh glare of public life, the idea of Leonor marrying so young, so publicly, was terrifying. In Denmark, Queen Mary and Crown Prince Frederik faced their own concerns. Prince Christian was the symbol of a new generation of Danish royalty. Every move he made was scrutinized. The thought of binding their future heir to a foreign throne was both politically delicate and emotionally complex. But love, as history has shown us time and again, cares little for protocol. As Leonor completed her military training in Spain, a chapter that defined her strength and independence, Christian would quietly visit Madrid under the guise of official events. It was during one of these visits that the bond deepened beyond friendship. They shared long walks in secluded gardens, late-night talks about duty, freedom, and what it means to live a life that isn't fully your own. And on one such evening, as the sun dipped over Madrid's royal skyline, Christian reportedly whispered, "One day, when we no longer have to hide, I'll ask for your hand, not as a prince, but as a man who loves you." That moment would mark the beginning of a secret royal courtship that defied centuries of formality. Still, when rumors began to spread across Europe earlier this year, few believed it. The Spanish palace denied everything. The Danish court remained silent. But silence, in the royal world, often speaks louder than words. Then came the shocking leak, an official document filed privately, revealing that King Felipe had approved Leonor's union under Spanish royal law. A sign of trust. A father's blessing. The world was stunned. The Spanish public was divided. Some saw it as a fairy tale, an alliance between two modern monarchies. Others viewed it as too sudden, too unconventional, a distraction from Spain's fragile political climate. But this morning, as the royal carriages rolled through the Danish capital, all doubts seemed to fade. The young princess emerged, wearing a gown that drew gasps even from seasoned royal watchers. Designed by Spanish couturier Lorenzo Caprile, the dress was a tribute to her mother's elegance and her grandmother Queen Sophia's legacy, a merging of generations, a symbol of continuity. As Leonor walked into the chapel, her poise reflected her father's discipline and her mother's quiet fire. King Felipe stood tall beside Queen Letizia, his expression caught between pride and disbelief. For the man who had dedicated his life to restoring Spain's faith in the monarchy, this was both a personal and national moment. When the music swelled, and Prince Christian turned to see her approach, even the most stoic royal attendants couldn't hide their emotions. He looked at her not as a princess, but as the woman he had waited for, through secrecy, distance, and duty. And when their eyes met, Spain and Denmark seemed, for a brief, eternal second, to stand still. The ceremony itself was understated yet breathtaking. The Archbishop of Copenhagen led the vows, blending Danish and Spanish traditions. Christian spoke in fluent Spanish, Leonor responded in Danish, a gesture that moved the audience to tears. King Felipe's hands trembled as he placed his daughter's veil, his quiet whisper caught by microphones, Hazlo con amor, hija mía. Siempre con amor. Do it with love, my daughter. Always with love. Queen Letizia wiped tears discreetly, her journalist's composure replaced by a mother's pride. When the couple exchanged rings, crafted from gold mined in Asturias, Leonor's birthplace, the chapel erupted in applause. Even King Harald of Norway and Queen Margrethe smiled knowingly, recognizing that this was more than a union of love. It was a merging of two royal futures. Outside, the cheers of thousands echoed across the Danish capital. Spanish flags waved beside Danish ones. For the first time in decades, Europe's royal families seemed united not by politics but by something purer. Yet behind the celebrations, there lingered quiet tension. In Madrid, political commentators questioned the long-term implications. Would Leonor, now tied to Denmark, still reign over Spain one day? Would the Spanish constitution need to adapt? Royal advisors scrambled to assure the public. This marriage was ceremonial, symbolic, and entirely approved by both crowns. Leonor remained the Princess of Asturias, Spain's future queen. But now, she was also a bridge, linking north and south, tradition and modernity, duty and love. As the wedding reception unfolded inside the palace's glittering ballroom, European royals mingled in a rare display of unity. Queen Maxima of the Netherlands toasted the couple. King Charles sent a message of congratulations, calling the marriage a modern echo of Europe's golden age of unity. Then came one of the night's most emotional moments. King Felipe took the microphone. His voice, usually firm and regal, wavered slightly. When Leonor was born, he said, I prayed that she would grow into a woman strong enough to choose her own path. Today, she has done just that. And though I give her hand to another royal house, I know she will never stop being the soul of Spain. The audience stood, applauding through tears. Even Prince Christian's parents looked moved. Beyond words. Later, as the newlyweds shared their first dance, the orchestra played a gentle waltz blending Spanish guitar with Danish strings. It was more than music, it was symbolism. Two worlds becoming one rhythm. The footage has since gone viral, millions across the globe watching, commenting, and sharing in disbelief. The wedding that united two kingdoms, one headline read. Princess Leonor writes a new chapter for Europe, said another. And yet, amid all the spectacle, it was the quiet moments that touched hearts most deeply. When Leonor leaned toward her father and whispered, "Thank you for trusting me," or when Queen Letizia brushed her daughter's cheek one last time before she left the ballroom. These were not royal gestures, they were human ones. By the end of the evening, as fireworks lit up the Danish sky, Leonor and Christian stood hand in hand on the palace balcony. The cheers below felt endless.